Hey you guys, welcome to episode number 15 of Empowering Women Through Fitness. I'm your host, Bridget, Therese, and today we are talking to Michelle, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce her last name, Lombardozzi, very Italian, as she's already disclosed. She's 100% Italian, but I'm excited to talk to her tonight all about her journey to having her online programs and her workout, home gym workouts. So super excited. I am actually obviously not in Houston today. I am in Wisconsin hanging out with my sister and her family. So I have a live audience. So if you hear kids or dogs or parents, that's real life over here in my makeshift Wisconsin studio. So Michelle is here. So I'm going to go ahead and add her on, if I can do this without knocking my phone off. And hopefully major issues the last couple weeks. So praying for a seamless connection here. So let's see what we have. Come on, Facebook. Don't let me down.
Hey.
There she is. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. So nice to see you and welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I watch all your
Oh, you're so
shows,
welcome.
I was going to say you're not at home, so I happened to catch that before you said it. It's a different
Yes.
background.
Yeah, yes. I'm in Wisconsin at my sister's house. I've actually done one other show
Oh,
here.
okay.
So it just turns out that I'm here again. But I'm so excited you agreed to talk to me today and for our viewers to get to know you. But as I start all my shows, we're going to do my icebreaker questions, and I forgot my notes. So I'm going to have to wing it.
Okay.
So maybe I'll throw a new question at you just to mix it up since you've watched my show. But first question is, where did you grow up?
So I'm born and I still live here in Rochester, New York. So, which is upstate New York and right in between Buffalo and Syracuse.
Okay, perfect. And so that you answered
Yeah.
the second question. No worries. What is something new you would like to learn?
Like to learn? Let's see. So it's funny, on your Facebook, someone had mentioned that I am Italian, which I'm 100% Italian.
My brother.
Yeah.
He's here live in the
funny.
studio.
Well, hello. So with that said, I would like to actually learn how to speak Italian. My in-laws speak fluent Italian, so that's something that I would like to learn one day. Yeah.
No, I have to cook. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, now where I'm going with this. Do you cook Italian too?
I do. I actually really enjoy cooking. I cook all types of things though, not just Italian. So, but I of course Italian is my favorite food.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. What is something you've checked off your bucket list?
So going on to I'm sure your second question is what's on my bucket list to do. And I would love to travel more. I really don't travel that much outside the country.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we did do this past February was travel to Mexico. So I got to go to Mexico for the first time in Cancun, and that was really nice. That was really cool, and I would love to kind of go and explore those things, outside the country. So,
right, that's perfect. Yeah, traveling is just always one of those things that are just bringing so much energy.
I
so much
think
joy.
So. Yeah.
That's perfect. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions because I don't have me today, but I think let's jump into it. I don't want to keep you too long. So we're going to talk a little bit about your story and kind of how you got to where you are now. So for those watching, I met her on Instagram, and for those of you who think Instagram's just a waste of time or social media is kind of fake, like you really do make serious connections online. And I watched her on Instagram, and she caught my attention because I was in a phase where I was doing home workouts, and everything she posts is all home workouts. So I've reached out to her, and she was cool enough to respond to the fan in Houston, Texas, and so I would bug her all the time. But I wanted to kind of get to know a little bit more about you, so we did a call earlier on this year or last year, and there's always more to everyone's story than where we are today, and that's kind of what I want to learn a little bit more about, and our viewers to learn a little bit more about. How did you get to where you are, and what is kind of your story?
Yeah, so a little background about me is that I've always been into fitness. I was always kind of like that sporty girl. And in high school and going into college, I even got my degree in exercise physiology. Just something about like the fitness I just really fell in love with. It was after college, I got my personal training certification, and I began to work at a community center, which I still work at today. And awesome. I kind of fell in line with teaching classes, fitness classes, and I absolutely love that. And so with that said, teaching fitness classes requires a lot of like physical demanding on the body. Okay, so kind of leading into how I got to Instagram. So I ended up 5 years ago in 2014, because I taught so many classes. I mean, I was doing classes 3 days a week, at least, for 6 years straight. And those classes were strength training classes. And basically what we would be given is literally a pamphlet given to you, exactly what you need to do in front of the class. It's choreographed. You're given the information. It was great. I didn't have to think about it. I just instructed it. Yeah. So in 2014 is when, I'll never forget, is that I had in March of 2014, so up until that, I started feeling pain in my shoulder. This is coming from, again, being so active. I never had injuries before. I never broke any bones before. I was always healthy. So the fact that I had pain in my shoulder, I just figured it would go away. Right. So March came, and I started to feel the pain. It just didn't go away. And it actually started to bother me not only during class, but after class. So I made the decision. So I was like, okay, I need to see a doctor. And that day they determined that I had to no longer teach. It became under like whole workers' comp thing, which, it's a whole other story. But so I had to end basically cold turkey teaching the classes that I absolutely loved. And it pretty much went downhill from there as far as what I had to endure, as far as what happened with the diagnosis. So happened to what with my shoulder, because it began to see doctors. And I had several doctors I've seen. 2 of them were surgeons. I've had several x-rays done, 3 MRIs done, 2 cortisone shots. I've seen chiropractors. I've seen massage therapists. So the first thing they had me do after all those tests, I had to go and see physical therapy twice a week for 6 months. And by the end of those 6 months, again, the doctors they just couldn't see or figure out what was going on with the shoulder. So the one surgeon has said, well, let's go do surgery. And at the time, I didn't know any better. I was like, well, I guess this is it. I'm like, maybe it'll help me. So basically with the shoulder, I had a couple things going on. I had pain in the shoulder, and I also had range of motion that I didn't have. I lost it. I could only bring up my arm like to my ear. And I could not go past that. Like I couldn't bring both arms, above my head. So that was like a mystery. Nobody seemed to understand, like, why is that like that? So this is before surgery. So all that physical therapy, so all the physical therapy was trying to get me to get full range of motion and things like that. So, so then I had, prior to surgery, I gotten pregnant with my second child. So I had my second child, and 4 months later, I decided to go and have the surgery, which they went in, and unfortunately, it was unsuccessful. They said they found slight bursitis. If anyone knows what that is, doesn't really matter, but it's just basically a slight inflammation in the joint. And but according to what the doctor said, it shouldn't be causing this much pain, and that it's more of like soft tissue, whatever that meant at the time. I didn't really understand it. So moving forward, I had to go back to physical therapy, the same place. Yeah. They did all the same stuff that they would normally do, just to get my range of motion back. And all the range of motion was just temporary. I mean, I would get it back like that, and then the next morning I would be, stiff again and things like that, and the pain was still there. Moving forward, is when I started Instagram. And I have 2 accounts on Instagram, and the one account is just as my like food pictures, like transformations, and it wasn't a big deal. And what I liked about Instagram at the time is when you start to like other pages, other feeds come on your page that they think that you would be interested in. So it happened to be a picture of it was my dog's here. Neurokinetics is the neurokinetics is actually it's neurokinetics therapy, and there's a picture, and it was before and after, and I had a picture of a guy. He had both arms up, like his back was facing, so his both arms up, and one arm didn't have the full range of motion, and the other arm did. And then the after picture showed both arms up, the same. Wow. I was like, oh my God, I'm like, that's me. I was like, I was like in awe that someone was just like me. And so I immediately contacted this person off of Instagram. I had no idea who he was, other than he was a doctor and a chiropractor. So I emailed him, I gave him, I still have the email, and I said, I'm desperate. I was like, I literally, everything I've said to you so far is what I said to him. And I was like, I've been there, I've done this, I had surgery, nothing's working. I'm like, I need help. And luckily, there's a chiropractor that is from where I live in Rochester, and who practices the same method, neurokinetics. And so I immediately emailed him and explained the whole thing over. And so he completely understood and has said, we can definitely work with you. So moving forward again, meeting him got me to understand of how this happened. So all my workouts, and again, so everything is given to me. It's always like the same type of moves over and over. It's just slightly different, like sets and reps. So and again, I was doing that for like 6 years in a row without really any stopping. So somewhere down the line, something happened, and my body kind of reacted to it. It said enough was enough. So working with him, and I saw him once a week for a long time, and I was able to get more of a knowledge base than anything.
How the body works, and just kind of a different perspective.
Yes, 100, yes, completely. So he actually helped me, give me variations of how to exercise. So meanwhile, because I wasn't exercising hardly at all anymore, and I still wasn't teaching. I mean, this is going on 3 years now, and wow. It's almost like I can compare it to like if you're an athlete and you get injured and you're completely out of the season. I mean, that's how I felt. It just got to the point where it was
hard emotionally. And I mean, did you have like withdrawals, or what was that part?
What was that?
Emotionally, was it difficult, or did you?
It was extremely difficult. I mean, there was days and nights I was completely frustrated, and I mean, I was literally in tears because it just, I didn't, there was nobody seemed to really know or understand what it was going through. And it was funny because the fact that I found it on Instagram, of all places, is, I mean, I take that and I just kind of go and run with it, because if it wasn't for Instagram, I would probably not be where I am today.
Isn't that something?
So,
so how did you so was it kind of out of this then, speaking of Instagram, that you started to form your
so
workout?
So the other account that I have now, which is the one that is more known, is the Get Fit Beyond the Gym, because the way that I work out is I had to find ways to do workouts that are around my shoulder that I could do. And your basic moves in the gym wasn't going to allow me to do that. So I had to kind of think outside the box instead of, you know, and that could be anything, like anything weight bearing or even body weight exercises. You really have to change how to do the exercise in order to make it work for you. So it's not that I didn't want to do my workouts at the gym, because I still do go to a gym, but I really wanted to do it at home, because even when I was at the gym, and I'm, you know, a personal trainer, so I would have women come to me and be like, can you give me a workout that I can do at home? And that's what I was hearing all the time. It was like, you know, I have a set of dumbbells. I don't know what to do with them. Is there something we can do here that I can do at home? So that kind of got me, well, I'm like, okay, well, I could just do this at home. It's so easy. And I could just, you know, start filming them. But the way that I train is so, in my book, I think is so different than what the traditional gym workout is. So I would take like, what's that?
Tell us why. Why is it so different?
Well, because it goes back to being, making sure you're doing the right technique and the form. And what I kind of learned from going to this new chiropractor is that I really wasn't doing the correct form and technique. You know, that strength training class that, again, everything is given to you and you know, you perform it. And I was trying to rack my brain around, like, how am I doing this wrong? Like, what happened? So I kind of concluded that it was my technique that was wrong. And, you know, for example, like a push-up, I was even doing that wrong because nobody ever told me how to do it. So in my Instagram and I've actually gone back to teaching. I've been teaching for like 2 years now in classes and personal training and stuff like that. So I like hone in on the technique and form because of my mistakes and so my injury. So I'll take that and just vary it up. So you take a basic move like a push-up, but you know, just add a little tweak to it to make it doable for everyone. Like, it doesn't have to be on the floor. I mean, why does it have to be on the floor? You know, just have it like an angle. So, and that can be on anything. It's, you know, whatever strength training workout you do, just tweak it. I mean, with me, I don't always do the basic move. It's always something else.
Do you have any instructional videos on your Instagram or anywhere that kind of talk about different moves or how you demonstrate to do the moves correctly?
There is one. I don't have a YouTube channel yet. So I've been asked that before. I'm hoping to get a YouTube channel and it'll be more instructional. I did post a video on, speaking about push-ups, I did post a video on how to do push-ups, and it's just a voiceover, you know, exactly how to do them. So so that's one.
So one of the things, and of course, we kind of run in the same industry as like workouts or teaching people. And one of the big things, and even myself personally, as a woman, I'm afraid to get injured. Like, I have a hard time. I'm scared to do. I did a workout with a trainer when I was in Florida this past week, and with my friend, and I told her, I'm like, I'm scared to do squats because I'll get stuck under the machine, or I just have a fear of being injured or hurting my back. So I know. And this goes for men or women, but we're focusing on mostly women today. But like, that is a big fear of women, is getting injured or they're not knowing how to do it right. Plus, everybody's a coach, everybody's a trainer, so the information is so watered down. Like, how do we know who's right? Like, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would say to do the most, and I'm constantly learning every single day, is to research. And again, going back to Instagram, there are about 3 of the ones I follow. I mean, there's numerous, but 3 of them I follow to the T. And they're all they're doctors, they're highly into, you know, working with patients and, you know, physiology type stuff, exercise physiology. And it's just, honestly, it's just, if the more you know, the better you'll become. The more you practice it, the better you'll become. The more you do it, your body gets adapted to it. I mean, you're right. There's so many coaches out there that are they say that they're, you know, experts, but do they have a certification? You know, I mean, you have to kind of look at their background and do they go to school? You know, where do they go to, you know, kind of a little bit more at their background. That's what I would do. And you know, again, just and the other thing too is every body is so different. You know, there's not necessarily two people can be completely different. And as a person like myself, as a trainer, we have to figure out what works for them because it may not be the same for somebody else.
Right, right. Is there a way that you suggest people ease into it? Do you start with body weight exercises and then like move up to light weights, or how do you say for somebody who's never worked out before and maybe they're afraid to get injured or don't know where to begin? Where do you suggest?
Yeah, so I have a kind of a little way of doing it. When I meet with somebody new, it is getting their background information first. I mean, first and foremost, that's a must, and like a medical history. It's just that's the way to me. That's the way it needs to be. But I always start with body weight exercises. I would never give somebody on their first day, be like, okay, here's a squat and here's some weight and let me see how you perform your technique this way. It's just not going to work that way. They're more of a chance to get injured by putting on any type of resistance weight. So so body weight, there's like 6 exercises I'll go through, and just by doing those 6 exercises will let me know what their fitness level is.
So this is a perfect tip for anybody who's either hiring a coach, hiring a trainer. If they don't ask for your medical history, if they don't make you do a certain amount of exercises without weights, and even the trainer, even though I was like, I've competed and I've done all this stuff, he's like, I still want to see how you squat. I still want to see how you perform these exercises. Because if they're not asking you those right questions and just throwing weights at you, and you see it all the time where like these trainers come in with your clients and you're like, oh my God, I would never have my client do that. So just things to be aware of. And is there anything else that you, along those lines, after the 6 exercises?
Yeah. So the sky's the limit. I mean, you know, every gym or even at home, it's just, you don't need that much equipment to make a really quote unquote.
You prove that on your Instagram too.
What's that?
I said you prove that on your Instagram channel too, by the way, that you don't need like the most I've seen you use are bands, balls, and dumbbells.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's kind of how I am at the gym. I will be honest. So when I'm at the gym, I will use heavier weight, and that's just for me personally. But for those of you who do at home, you definitely don't need this crazy, you know, home. Now, of course, my dream would be to have a house that has like my own workout room and things. But for those of you who do follow me, you can see the space that I have is so small. In fact, I'm in my space right now. I'm in my workout room. So
sometimes you're in the living room, sometimes you're on the deck, sometimes
that's true,
outside,
so our weather is still not great here. In fact, it's raining. So I'm still and it's cold, and I'm still doing inside workouts. But so going back to the question that you don't need a lot of anything, and even if you have resistance band, I get that question asked all the time, is, you know, I want to get something kind of cheap. I just want to get started in my workouts with something I can buy. And I always will go to resistance bands, because literally, I mean, I went to Marshall's and I bought the band that I use all the time. And that right there is a type of resistance training that's going to get you not only stronger, but you can, you know, definitely increase muscle mass. So that's kind of, depending on their fitness level, is where I kind of have them start. It's some sort of, you know, take the body weight and then add something to it. So like the TRX, for example, is adding a little bit more, you know, your body weight, and then it's a little bit extra more intensity. So,
I would like to see from you 2 things. And as a fan, I would love to see like instructional videos, even if you do it with a client or somebody like that who's willing to be on your Instagram channel, but like where you can demonstrate on them, where you're just explaining like, this is proper, this is improper. That would be one thing. And then if you could do like a full workout, even if it's 20 minutes, and for like longer, either, of course you can use Instagram TV, but I think it's better YouTube's still a better platform for long form videos. If you did it on YouTube where we could just follow along on a workout or a live workout on Instagram, that would be fun too. I'm not my social media brain here, but I think that would be really fun. And just another way, or even if you had like a little membership or something like that, where we could just work out of the week, or I don't know. My business and my host are
no,
right now, but I think that would be
yeah,
cool.
no, you definitely kind of hit the nail. I mean, those are my I have some future goals, and as of right now, I'm getting my website ready, and I'm going to have a workout program that you'll be able to purchase. And so it'll still be home workouts, but home workouts that you've never seen before. So this is going to be all like brand new workouts 5 days a week if you choose to. And it's funny that you also talked about doing like a class or some sort, because that is something I've even talked about doing, and literally buy like the microphone. Like I already looked into it, you know, on YouTube. So that's something else I thought that I would like to do, and going on live would be fun too. So I'm trying to, you know, slowly build into getting my name. I know it is a lot of work, and I don't, you know, I know this is what I want to do, and you know, I do put a lot of work into it. And because I trying to keep it so others can learn from it. And it's really because, you know, when I talk to people either in person or even on my videos, sometimes I'll do the voiceovers, and it's really instructional. So that part of it, which is what you're not really seeing on Instagram, but when you're getting the online program, it will be instructional, and it will be a voiceover. So it's kind of like I'm there right with you, but only in.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's great, because like going back to people either being afraid to start because they don't know how to. And I mean, there's plenty of stories of people getting injured, either just overexerting themselves or just not knowing how to do things right. Or you have the people who are just afraid to start at all because they don't even know. It can be very overwhelming, especially with so much information available, and everybody with their big claims and things like that. So I'm excited. Like, you tell me when it's ready, and I will share it with my people.
No, that's awesome.
For one, just the home workout is nice. Like I have not had a gym membership, and I'm the fitness person. Like I've not had a gym membership in a year, and I just have like the dumbbells and bands at home, and I love it. I mean, sometimes I do miss the grind of the gym and just like the smell.
Oh yeah, like the social aspect of the gym is always fun, and I get that.
Yeah, I would probably work a little harder if I felt like people were watching me. Like, oh, what is that? You know, there's the whole ego thing at the gym, but I'm excited. So, in a nutshell, your injury led you down this path of learning more about the body, how it works, how it functions, and now you're able to help other people who are working out or in that same place avoid going down that same path.
Right. Yeah. And that's truly kind of what it is. It's even the class that I teach now, I get to teach it. I don't have any choreography. So I created my own class. And it's a strength training class, and I absolutely love it. And it's just, it's kind of neat, and throwing the knowledge out there, and because people, they don't know where to, like you said, they don't know where to begin. And that's what I'm here for, because I don't want to have people go through what I had to go through, because it's not good. It's a long recovery. And, you know, for those who do have injuries will know exactly what I'm talking about with the frustrations and things like that goes with it.
So get your full range of motion back in your shoulder?
It is, ever since I started doing my variations in my classes, it is probably about 95. Well, I have full range of motion all the time.
Yeah.
And the pain, I would say 95% is good, is there. So, but I actually have Instagram to thank, and neurokinetics I have to thank, because it wasn't, like I said, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know.
That's amazing. So for anybody who thinks Instagram is just for fitness models, wrong. Get on Instagram. You can find all the stuff. I have a chiropractor client who's on Instagram, and you can find a lot.
There's a lot of good people, a lot of resources out there. I'll say that.
Yeah. So if you're looking for it, you will find it for sure. Any last words or anything you'd like to leave us with? Any words of encouragement or empowerment for anybody who's maybe scared to start out? Any advice?
I always say, you know, ask every time I have my class, I always say, let me know any concerns or issues that you have. If you do have an injury, let me know. If you if you need modifications, let me know. Because I can literally give you a move and show you in 5 different ways how to make that move work for you. So it's always good to ask, because again, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, then chances are you can get it. Your risk to get an injury will increase, and you may not even notice it that day, and it may take months. In fact, mine took years, and I was young. You know, age doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, you know, how old you are. You can still get injured with, you know, doing what you love to do. So hopefully love.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's right.
Well, awesome. Well, we're at 30 minutes already, so we're going to wrap it up. But I'm so grateful that we met on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that you were brave enough to take me up on my show invitation and talk to us all about your experience and share your story with us. So I appreciate it. And you can go ahead and hit the little X on your screen.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for reaching out to me, because I like what you're doing. You're doing such a great job and talking with other women. So, you know, the fact that I'm on your list makes me feel special.
Yeah, you are special.
All right. Well,
and for anybody watching, go ahead. You can follow her. I posted her links in the show notes. So I do encourage you to go follow her. If you follow me on Instagram, I've tagged her in a couple posts too, so you can find her that way as well. So,
well, thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Bye. Awesome, you guys. Well, I hope you found that super beneficial and learned a little bit more. Or you're maybe scared to. We all started. Nobody was born a fitness expert. Nobody was born with muscles. Maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids are, if he had any. But for the rest of us normal people, we do have to all begin somewhere. So don't be afraid to begin at the entry level. Trainers are there to help you. That's what they love to do. And don't be afraid to reach out and ask. You can ask myself if you need help. But yeah, I loved her story. And next week, we're coming back with another special guest. I'm going to go through, for those of you who are interested, I'm going to go through the end of May. And then I have something super exciting I'm working on for this summer. So stay tuned for that. I will be announcing that shortly as I put the pieces together and line that up. So I love doing this show. Some days I'm like, does anybody even care? But regardless of if you care or not, I love talking to these women who have amazing stories and have valuable information to share with the world. So this is just one way I can have a platform for them. But I love Michelle. Hope you guys go follow her. And when her programs come out, I'm totally sharing them. And I will definitely join her on that journey too. So I hope you will. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.